Welcome back to the Golden Hour Drip podcast. I'm your host, Logan Lee Miller. Thank you so much for joining here today. If you haven't already, go ahead, drop down into the show notes app, the show notes in the app, and go ahead and join our weekly newsletter. I'm sending out exclusive content for all of our email list. So if you want to be in the know, if you want to get an extra episode every week, our little Fast Fridays, if you will, go ahead and click the link and sign up for our weekly newsletter. But if you've already done that, thank you so much. And let's get into the episode. So one of my biggest, saddest things in life is when your self-care tips or routine actually work. We like to sometimes romanticize our self-care, and we're like, I need to, get a facial for self-care. I need to take care of myself by taking a long shower or sleeping in or buying myself this thing that I want. But self-care sometimes is not pretty and also is difficult and not always super fun. So my self-care tip that I was trying to do this weekend was Sunday. I was a bum, B-U-M. Honestly, this term has came back into my vocabulary because I've been watching Rocky. I watched the first and the second, and I'm starting on the third. But I love Rocky. Okay, Rocky Balboa. I haven't really actually watched the series as an adult, but bum has become part of my vocabulary again. You're a bum. I can't get over Sylvester Stallone saying that. So you're a bum. I was a bum. I was being a bum on Sunday. I woke up late. Honestly, Saturday, I was really, really productive. I had a lot going on. I had to get up. I cleaned the house. I had a special guest come and record an episode with me. So, she'll be airing sometime in March. So got one of those episodes, pre-recorded. And I had to clean the house before she got here because I get a little nervous about that, and we had stayed out Friday night, and so Saturday I was busting along, got it all done. And then this is what I love about having a nice clean house, is around 2:30 p.m. Garrett, I know, very specific. Garrett had called me and he's like, hey, I know we talked about, since you did your chores, I always tell him that, I can't do that, I gotta get my chores done. Chores being whatever, the house, or, actual cattle chores, or, podcasting, or whatever I need to do, my to-do list, essentially. I'll tell him no, I can't do it. My chores aren't done. I gotta do my chores. But we had discussed, if I got all of what I wanted to get done, then I wanted to go to the movies. And so Gert's I know that I promised you to go to the movies, but, one of our friends is gonna be dropping off this beer he picked up in Wisconsin. I forget, the Spotted Cow or something dumb like that. I don't know. He bought him some of this beer from Wisconsin. I was gonna bring it back for him, and they live in Kansas City, so he didn't just want to bring the beer over and then not hang out. So I was yeah, sure, whatever. And Garrett said, I know that we discussed going to the movies. Would it be okay? Do you want to have them come over? We can hang out at the house. We can go eat. I was the house is presentable. Yes, of course, impromptu guest is fine because I literally just cleaned. So I love it when that happens because then I don't feel all freaking nervous running around making sure it's presentable for guests. Not that they even care, it's more all about me. But so we did that, and it was a busy Friday and Saturday. So Sunday, my house is already clean. I don't have that kick in my pants, get up and get things moving and have to do anything. And I'm trying to be okay with not necessarily like checking anything off a list, or, being restful is hard work as well, because growing up, like, I've just always been like running around and being in so many activities and doing this and doing that. And like, it's almost a badge of honor to be so busy, but really that's a fake badge of honor. Like, nobody really wants it. But so it's very hard for me to just be relaxing and doing nothing. And so I was like trying really, really hard to do nothing, but I felt yucky about it. It's not being restful if you are thinking about all the other things that you want to be doing, or thinking about how you should, be working on this extra project or that extra project, or trying to do this. And like, that is not helpful at all. So I was being counterproductive because I wasn't even being restful, but I was still in that yucky feeling of, like, I don't have the energy, So it was this cycle of me hating myself for just like lying on the couch on my phone, scrolling through TikTok aimlessly, and just like feeling really crappy that it wasn't a active rest. Like, I should not have been glued to my phone. I should have, done something fun, like baked something, or any extracurricular hobbies that I have. I should have been doing those. I could have been cutting denim for a quilt. I could have been, anything fun. It doesn't even matter what it would have been. And I knew that we had the Super Bowl later that evening, so I was like, man, like, I was just dragging. And Rowdy had to go potty, so I took her outside, and I thought to myself, it is a literal beautiful day. It is sunny. It is warm. The breeze is blowing. It feels like spring could be around the corner. And I was like, here I've wasted all my morning resting, even though I wasn't resting, and I should have been outside. And I was like, you know what, Logan, you really should go for a walk. You should go outside. You should go for a walk. It is good for you. And I told myself, I cannot go on a walk. That sucks. And it was this internal battle of, I feel so sluggish and mopey not doing anything, but I also don't have it in me to do something, right? Like, that's the weak self-discipline that is, it was an internal struggle. And I was like, you know what, it's okay that I don't feel like I can do a mile walk, right? It's okay. It is completely okay. I'm about to start my period this upcoming week. I always have low energy right before my period. It's okay. It's normal. I've been a little stressed at work. My body needs it. But I still want to be in that active recovery. I want to be, still enjoying it and not mindlessly scrolling, right? So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to walk down the yard. And then I remembered, there are tulips that I planted last spring with Brody, and I want to go check on them. And so then the excitement builds, because I'm reminded by being outside, being in the sunshine, walking, I'm like, I forgot about those. I'm going to go check on them. And here I just was kind of meeting myself in the middle of, you need to go outside. Let's do something small. It doesn't have to be big. And it worked. My mental health definitely improved. I was excited. I had a little bit of energy. I was outside. Those are all good things for your health. And so these little, if you go on a walk, you're going to feel better. Even if you just start small, I literally, my plan was to walk to the mailbox and walk down just the drive of our house and then come back. Nothing. It was going to take me 3 minutes maximum. I did not want to spend time outside. I also didn't want to do a cold plunge this morning. I stuck my feet in one at a time. I stuck one leg in, I took it out, I stuck the other leg in, and I pulled it out, and that was it. I was trying. It doesn't have to be big steps all the time. It can be little things just to keep you on track. And so I'm walking over and I see like where I planted them. I'm feeling more energetic. I'm feeling more excited, and I'm looking through the shrub, and I look real close, and I get in the, I squat down, you know, I'm to the level of where the tulips are, and I just peek in and I move real slow. There's leaves and there's some overgrowth of like summer because tulips are just a spring flower. And so I'm like moving it all over, and there it is. About 2 inches of tulip leaves. Oh my gosh. And that was honestly the highlight of my day, something I did not want to do. And here are my little baby tulips poking through all of, you know, last summer's grass, and I need to go out there and they need to trim it. So then it's like, okay, it's setting the schedule to go out there again. And I love being outside. It's one of my favorite things. That's why winter sucks so bad for me. That's why I tried to get into winter running. That's why I've tried to do all these things to get me outside, because I know it makes me feel happier. I know it makes me feel more grounded, literally, when I'm touching the ground. And I'm looking at these tulips and I am just in awe, because it's something that I planted last spring. You know, if you're a longtime listener, Brody and I planted these little baby tulips last spring. I was so excited for them. We planted purple and white and yellow and red, like just, it didn't matter what color scheme. I just wanted to plant some tulips. I put it at the corner of our yard because that, like, it didn't matter for landscaping purposes. And like they were $1 at Walmart. Something so simple doesn't have to cost like a lot of money, right? Like it can be cheap. So, and I'm looking at this, and something I planted a year ago, not quite a year ago. I planted them like in April, I think, or March or April. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like they bloomed beautifully last spring. And this summer, you know, they were putting down roots in this fall. They were putting down roots in this winter. They're growing and they're putting down roots all throughout summertime and fall and winter. And now, you know, where I had just like one little tulip, there's another tulip growing right next to it, and another, you know, so that bulb has put up more shoots than last year. And it just put it in perspective for me. You know, this week I feel tired. This week I feel like I'm not making any progress. I feel like I am not necessarily in a plateau, but I feel like it's taken extra energy to do everything. I haven't wanted to get up and work out. The 4 a.m. thing has killed me this week. I literally, I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday, I got up at 4 o'clock. I quickly got dressed, because all this week, like every time we've gone to work out, which is probably only 3 out of the 5 days, just 3 days, I told myself the faster I get in the car, the faster I can close my eyes and wait on Garrett to come drive me to the gym. And so I like got my stuff on and I got in the truck and I like closed my eyes. I didn't even take pre-workout or anything, because I had this plan. If I could just work out, if I could get my workout done, I could lay in bed as soon as I get home, right? Like I make these promises to myself, these short little promises. They don't have to be super big. Like when I didn't want to do my cold plunge, I just stuck my legs in. I didn't want to go on a walk, so I just did what I could. I just walked a little bit. And so at the gym, you know, I had a pretty good workout. But as soon as I got home, I rinsed off in the shower and I hopped right in bed, and I took a 35-minute nap before I got up and went to work. Like I've been tired, but I know that it doesn't have to be like 100 to 0. I can do 50. I can do 30%, right? Like any little bit is gonna help me make that progress. And looking at those tulips, you know, they did not bloom all summer long. They didn't bloom in the fall. They didn't bloom in the winter. And sometimes we are not going to have blooms all the time. We are not going to be this beautiful flower that everyone sees and admires, you know, cuts us and put us in a vase, like put us on display. We're not always going to be at that full vibrancy and that full amazing 100%. Sometimes we got to put the work in. Sometimes we have to be putting down roots or making sure that we have a solid foundation. And we have to, you know, be soaking up the nutrients and soaking up the water and waiting and waiting and waiting. So when we get through the fall, when we get through winter, it's springtime, baby, and that's the time to bloom. So I know, even though I've been tired, like that's okay. Like I'm getting those nutrients, I'm getting that water, I'm putting down roots, I'm getting my foundation, because then come springtime, I'm gonna be able to bloom. Come summertime, I'm gonna be able to bloom. And it's okay that I had a bad week. It is all about bouncing back. And what truly divides the winners from the losers is how they bounce back and how quickly they bounce back. I'm not putting that much pressure on myself that it has been a week, right? Because a past Logan, it could have taken 3 weeks to bounce back or a month. You know, I remember when I was a sophomore in college, I was crazy on a diet. It was not a nutrition plan. It was not a lifestyle change. I was on a diet. I was working out in between my classes. I had lost about 20 pounds. I was feeling really, really good, but then I got comfortable and I had a hard break. Actually, it was Valentine's Day. I remember now because I'd gone out with Paige Pearson, was one of my besties in college, and we done this diet together and we were preparing for spring break. And I remember we were doing hard keto. I don't recommend keto, but that's what we were doing. We were doing hard keto. We were working out at the gym and I lost quite a bit of weight, and we decided we were going to break it on Valentine's Day. I probably ate close to 4,000 calories that day. I binged like crazy. I don't recommend it. It was not very good. I was not in a good diet. It was a crash diet. It was. And here I'm eating, like, I swear I had a donut from the gas station. I had before I got to the gas station, I had like a bowl of cereal and cake from the night before that I didn't get to eat at like our sorority house. I had saved it for the next day. I had a donut at the gas station. I went to school. I went through one of my classes. I only had one class for the day. And then after that, I met Paige and we went out to eat to the like pancake house, and I had like strawberry and whipped cream pancakes, and then I went home and I made brownies and chocolate dipped strawberries, and I went back to her house and we made like a bunch of food, and then we ended up going to the movies, and I drank at the movies. Oh my gosh, I remember there was this whiskey. It was called like Sweet Pete's or something like that. I thought it had no sugar in it. It's because it was like a bourbon or a whiskey or something. It had loads of sugar in it. Also, I thought that rum chata didn't have like carbs in it. When I say sugar, I mean carbs, because it was like a no carb diet. And I just remember like we drank wine and flasks, like we brought a flask to the movie theater, and then Garrett picked us all up and we went to Applebee's, and Garrett was the only boy and it was the rest girls. We had Jamie and Lindsay and Paige, and we were all eating. And I just, after that, I had this like huge binge, right? And instead of bouncing back and getting back on my diet, good or bad, I decided, I was like, I took it easy. And one day turned into a week, and it turned into 2 weeks, and it had been like 4 or 5 months since I had worked out or was on a strict diet. I told myself, I was like, oh, well, I'll watch what I eat, or, it was a yo-yo diet, so obviously it wasn't sustainable, but my bounce back ability, I kid you not, it was 5 or 6 months. It wasn't until that, fall that I decided to like try working out again, or trying to get back on a nutrition plan. And that's a long time. That is a very long time to bounce back in comparison to right now. I am eating a well-rounded diet. I have macros that I am tracking. I have a health coach that is helping me through it. And, I'm eating a balance of protein, carbs, fats, and, an overall caloric intake. And, I'm working out and I'm listening to my body, but, it doesn't matter that this week wasn't perfect. It pretty much was not perfect at all, but it's all about how I'm coming back from it and how I'm doing little things that are going to keep me on track, right? Like, I could have just said this week was a wash. I could have said that this week wasn't good, and so I was going to just, I'm not going to track anything Saturday, Sunday. I'll just wait until Monday, right? Like, no, I'm even if I'm not eating the best or even all of my calories, for me, it's not even that like, oh, I overeat. It's I usually undereat and I don't eat enough protein. It's like my biggest weakness when it comes to my nutrition. But it just reminded me, looking at these tulips, that I might feel this week I haven't had progress, right? Like, I feel like this week I haven't pushed the needle. But in some ways, I might not see it on the scale, because right now I am holding water weight. Like, it's right before my period. I know my body. I'm telling myself I'm not crazy. Like, I know what's happening. And I might not feel that, but I still kept the discipline the best that I could. I tried to just find my crazy ways that were gonna help me stay on track and stay motivated and bounce back a little bit, right? If you read Atomic Habits, he talks about not letting more than 2 days pass of sticking to a habit, right? Because then you get comfortable. And it just reminded me, even if I'm not seeing it, I'm putting down roots, just like those tulips. And if you plant a seed in the dirt, right? Like, you're planting a seed in the dirt, you don't automatically dig that seed up to see, oh, has it sprouted yet? And then cover it back up, water it, and then wait 30 seconds. And then dig it up again, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's sprouting roots. No, like, you put the seed in the ground, you cover it with dirt, or a bulb, if it's a tulip. You put it in the ground and you wait for it, and you might go 2 or 3 weeks with not seeing anything, right? Like, I didn't see anything in fall and winter time. And then one day in spring, I'm having a bad day, and I go out there to check on it, and lo and behold, I have beautiful tulip leaves sprouting through the dirt. And it's because I left it alone, and because I trusted the process, and because, the sun shined and it got watered and it had that time for rest, right? Like, wintertime is for rest. So I know that for myself, like, I'm also going to bloom. Like, my time will come to shine. We can't be shining all the dang time. So it just told me that it's okay, right? Like, maybe you're just thinking, oh my gosh, you've made a a mountain out of a molehill or an anthill or something. Maybe so, but it's okay to be putting in the work, and nobody might see it except for yourself, or maybe you don't even see it, right? The Super Bowl is today, actually, as I'm recording this episode. It's funny, for the last 3 years, all 3 years of the podcast, I have dipped out halfway during the halftime show. Not really a halftime show. It's actually like 15, 20 minutes before the halftime show. I have dipped away to go record, and it's kind of like my own Super Bowl tradition, right? But I'm thinking of these athletes who are out there, and they have put in the time, energy, and effort through fall, winter time, you know, and Super Bowl is like their spring or summer, right? You can tell I've been listening to a lot of Tony Robbins. He talks about like the seasons a lot in life. I've been trying to apply it as much as possible to like my life, right? But these athletes, you know, they have taken the time to hone their craft, to be putting work in at the gym, to be studying playbooks, to be working out, eating right, getting enough sleep, managing their stress. They actually say, you know, the best athletes, the best performers have put themselves through stress, right? Whether that is waking up at 4 in the morning or running miles upon miles or doing an ice water bath or anything, they're putting their body under stress and performing under that stress. So when the big game comes, like the Super Bowl, they're ready. And their body, actually, they talk, if you get into the zone of genius. I've been reading the book, it's The Big Leap, I think it's what it's called. It's on Kindle, so I never really get the title, but the book cover has a goldfish jumping from a little bowl to a big bowl. But it talks about your zone of genius and your zone of excellence. I think I might be skewing these a little bit, but your zone of, okay, now I think I remember properly. The small fish bowl is your zone of excellence. That's like the top of the top, right? That is top 10% of the performers, like you're better than everyone else. And then your zone of genius is like less than 1%. It is where like most people don't ever get there. And it talks about like taking the jump from your zone of excellence to your zone of genius. And I was just thinking, you know, these athletes, what really sets them apart is getting into their zone of genius. And to do that, they actually, you know, they put themselves through so much stress. When they are in a super, super, super stressful situation, like it is fourth quarter, they have 30 seconds on the clock, they need to put in another, touchdown, whatever. I'm not a football girly, you guys know this. Like, I'm always there for the social event, right? Like, I'm always there for the social event. I am not there for the game. But, you know, when they have this immense amount of pressure put on them, their body is actually so used to stress that they are able to lower like the stress hormone, the cortisol, in their body, and they're able to still have that adrenaline and still have that like moment of, okay, we have to excel, and they get this like clarity, their zone of genius, like this moment where they're able to feel all the pressure and apply every single thing that they worked towards or worked on, or all the hours that they put into this point in their life, and that's what sets them apart. Then they're able to put in the touchdown, or, you know, hit the tennis ball, whatever athlete they are, run the marathon, and they can also apply it to, you know, that sales tactic or any part of their professional performance, career, whatever. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, like all the things that I'm doing, all the discipline bones or muscles that I'm trying to strengthen, and all the things I'm trying to do, like that is all part of working towards my zone of genius. And if you haven't read the book, I believe it's The Big Leap. I'm in between so many books, but this week, I didn't read hardly any books because I've just been I wouldn't say a slump. Like, I've just been tired. I don't know. Like, we all go through it. I'm blaming it on hormones. But I am in my Kindle. The Big Leap is what it's called. The Big Leap. Conquer your hidden fear and take life to the next level by Gay Hendricks. It's really, really, really good. I would absolutely recommend it. But I honestly haven't read that much this week. And you should absolutely check it out. It's on Kindle, and you can, read it at your ease. That's why I like Kindles so much, because you literally do not have to carry like a bulky book. You can just like open your phone. That's why I like it so much. But yeah, just the pressure of the Super Bowl. I cannot even imagine. But we all have our own Super Bowls in our day-to-day life. A big presentation, or a big test, or impressing the in-laws, or whatever it is. Like, we all have our own Super Bowls, and we all have like the things that seem like the literal end of the world if we don't perform, if we don't do it properly. And I just think, I just think sometimes that when we put so much pressure on ourselves, it can be good and it can be bad, but it all boils down to, are you putting in the self-care too? Like, it's okay to like go hard and play hard, but you also have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, and you are resting, and you are doing things that make you happy, and it goes all back into self-care and that self-love. I mean, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. This episode is coming out on Monday. Valentine's Day is Tuesday. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that it's Tuesday. But with that, the Valentine's Day also brings like a very, very special anniversary. Garrett and I, actually on the 12th, the Super Bowl, on the 12th, Garrett and I have been in this house for an entire year. 2 years. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? 1 year? No. We've been in this house for 2 years. And it just got me thinking about all of the effort and the work that we've put in to get to where we are now, right? Like, we have put in the work in our relationship and our finances and our social life and in all areas of our life, actually, to get where we are right now today. So while we were preparing the food for the Super Bowl, we're having all the things. We are making buffalo chicken dip, which I think, besides hot wings, like, buffalo chicken dip is a staple of the Super Bowl. Absolutely, 100%. So here we are making buffalo chicken dip. We had meatball subs. Garrett loves the sweet meatballs with like rice in them. I don't know. I made them one time for him when we were like dating. He fell in love with them. That's way to a man's heart, right? Like, meatballs. So I was making meatballs, and he was making buffalo chicken dip, and we had strawberries, and we were making whipped cream, and it hit me as we were preparing all this food. I'm like, oh my gosh, Garrett, like, we moved into our house around this time. Like, we had moved in like the Monday or Tuesday after the Super Bowl. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, we have been in this house for 2 years. And I looked all around us, and I looked at how we have gotten new furniture, and we have organized different things, and we have all this stuff in our kitchen. And I was like, wow, we have really just expanded into this home. I cannot imagine if we had to move back into the space we had, right? Like, they say when you purchase a home or whatever, build a home, rent a home, you are, you might only have enough stuff. I mean, Garrett and I only had enough stuff to fill the living room. We had, an empty guest room and an empty office, and I just remember all of our stuff literally fit in the living room. And so here we are, expanded into a master bedroom, and then we have a guest bedroom, and then this office, and oh my gosh, like, we have collected a lot of stuff. Especially now, like, this office has been a little bit of a work in progress. I still have this like nice chest that we have to move, but like, Garrett now has his desk in here and computers, and he's working from home, and I have my career, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like how much we've just expanded as humans, both literally and figuratively, right? Like we have expanded our stuff for sure. We have expanded our life for sure. We have grown so much in the last 2 years, and a lot of the hard work that we've done is coming to fruition. So all of the seeds that we have planted, and the way that we have thought about our life and have been designing it is coming true. The hard work that we've been putting in. We have a couch set in the living room that we worked really hard for. It's coming up on a year, and maybe it's just like the first for us, the first in the house, the second in the house. Like these are all very, very early stages of our relationship and the things that we're doing. So it might seem like a bigger deal, but I never, ever, ever want to get to the point of my life where it's like, and old people say this all the time, I'm not being rude, I would literally mean, and they say, when you're old like me, you'll start counting years and decades. I don't want to count years and decades. Like, I want to live every single day. I don't want to have blurs of weeks. I don't want to have blurs of years. Like, I'm trying to be very distinctive. This is when we did this. This is when we did that. Oh my gosh. Like, and really just be grateful for every single growth moment that we've done and the things that we have accomplished. And like these nice chairs that I have in my office now. If you're watching on YouTube, I have started YouTubing again. But these chairs, like they're kind of wonky. They actually don't match at all. But I got them off Facebook Marketplace, one for $5, one for $15, I think is this one. I wrapped them in the same Walmart blanket. They're kind of janky. This one's a little wobbly, the one I'm not sitting in. They look good. I wrapped them kind of the same. I got these pillows when we first moved in, and I'm just thinking, these chairs might be wonky now, but one day we'll replace them with something better. And I'll think back to my white janky chairs that I made with a lot of love. Like, oh my gosh, like remember when I didn't have the money to spend on chairs for my office, or we didn't have money for furniture in our living room, or a new bed, or a nice desk. Like we didn't have that. We had to put in the work. We had to save the money. Garrett just got like a new job, and he's put in a lot of work professionally. He's gotten his master's. Like I've done a lot of growth in my professional career, and moving from position to position, and it's all about doing the work when nobody sees it. And just little by little, you also have to just like sit and be grateful for it. You have to count your blessings, because sometimes we are so caught up in the next thing, the next paycheck. I know for me, the mindset right now, I'm working on my second big financial goal. And so for me, I'm like always thinking on when I'm going to get my next paycheck and how I can allot it towards, this financial goal or this thing that I want, right? Like I have definitely been taking money into consideration. I've been working on it. I've been really putting that at the forefront and in my mind. But I don't want to be waiting for 15 days to go past, so I can get this money. I want to be, not even thinking about money, still wanting to be on my financial goals, but not exactly like just counting down the days, or counting down the days for the weekend, or counting down the days until this big event or anything, because the mundane, right, like our day-to-day life, that is important for growing our roots and growing in the dark and in the soil. So we should take them into consideration, and we should also celebrate those just as much as we celebrate the explosive growth, or when everyone can see what we've been doing and putting in the work. And and like, oh my gosh, like they've done so much, but they didn't see the journey. They didn't see like everything that you've put in, all the hard work and dedication. They just saw like at the end. So nobody's going to appreciate it as much as you do. So that's why you should just like stop and take a second. And Garrett's always so funny. You know, I've always been a planner. I've always been one to document my life and to write down dates. And so while we were in the kitchen making all the Super Bowl food, I was like, do you know what today is? I always ask him. I try to gaslight him as much as possible in the best way. But I'm always like, do you know what today is? It's a special day. Like, why don't you know? Like, do you not love me? Just stupid things like that. But he's like, the Super Bowl? I was like, no, it's not. No, try again. He's like, Valentine's Day is in a few days. I said, Garrett, we have been in this house for 2 years. He's like, yeah, you're right. I was like, you forgot. I almost forgot. But he was like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, we have been in this house for 2 years. And I was like, think about all that we have accomplished. And then I was also thinking, oh my gosh, like, think of how long we've been together. I don't know. February is just like it's one of my favorite months, personally. It is. It's when I founded the podcast. It's when we moved into our house. It's all of these things that just make me so dang happy. And I'm like, I guess I'm just trying to be super, super grateful and give myself all the love, even though, you know, I've had some shitty days. But I've just kind of like gone back to, you know, that younger self, that person who was unsure, that person who was trying really, really hard to figure out what she wanted to do. And I'm gonna tell her, like, 2 years later, we still don't know what we're doing, but we're trying our best, right? Like, we are trying our best. We're trying to navigate it the best way we know. I thought I would be more stable in my mid-20s. I guess I'm in my mid-20s, y'all. Like, I'm in my mid-20s. I guess I'll be in my mid-20s until 27, 28, and then 28 I'll be in my late 20s. But when I think back to my, you know, younger self, moving into this home and starting my professional career and trying to sort out my life and just trying to show up every day as the person I could show up as, where I was at. I know it's such a simple little thing, but you cannot show up as, you know, someone who already knows everything if you don't know it. Like, you have to go through those life experiences. You have to meet those people. You have to read that book. You have to kind of play the game, play the game of life. Go through those experiences and go through those hardships and go maybe through those periods of nothing happening and you're just putting in the work and nobody can see it. You try to get yourself excited when you look in the mirror or journal for the day. But I also like to think about the like freaking happy times too, and think, you know, more happy times are coming. My favorite thing about moving in this house is when we moved in without anything. Here I am talking about how nice it'll be when I get new chairs, or, you know, how nice it is that we have new couches, or how nice it is. It's all stuff. I know it's all stuff. It is somewhat of an achievement of our financials and somewhat of an achievement of our married life. But my literal favorite memory is when we move in. It's freezing ass cold. It's like -5 degrees. Like, wind chill was insane. Cows were cold. Everyone was cold. We calve in February, March, you know, the calves were calving. They were freezing to the ground. We were having to pick them up and have them inside and bottle feed them and then warm them up and take them back out to their moms. And we were chopping ice and we were feeding hay, and And I can think back and be like, oh, those are negatives, but they were fun. They were so much fun. And we we were cold in the house. My dad lives in an old farmhouse. We were sleeping upstairs in the top of the house. The walls, I swear, you can feel a breeze sometimes if you just lift up your hand. And it's cold. And I just remember being like, you know what? Like, how I love a good hot shower, especially growing up, like at my mom's. I would like take hot steamy showers. I'd be in there for an hour reading a book or something, and I was dreaming of a shower. And I knew our new house was gonna have a like sprinkler shower, is gonna have a waterfall here and then another spout. And I was like, oh, I just can't wait to get in that house. I cannot wait. I could not wait to start my adult life, right? Like, I couldn't wait to start my married life. And the house didn't have anything, and it was too cold to haul anything. But Garrett and I decided we were going to buy a mattress, and we were going to sleep in our brand new house with nothing in it. We blew up our mattress. We had to watch a movie because we didn't have anything streaming. We hooked up a little projector that Garrett had in his, college, not dorm, where he rented, whatever. So he had a projector. And so we brought the projector and we slept in the living room, and we blew up the air mattress, and we got it. I think we like had 3 or 4 blankets on the air mattress. We had the fan going, and we just like snuggled in and watched Pirates of the Caribbean, something we had seen so many times before, but we were together and we were in an empty house. It didn't matter. We ordered Chinese takeout and we just hung out together. It was so simple. It was so fun. It was so lovely. It was, before we had any furniture in our house or anything remotely nice, but it was such a defining moment. And the work that we put in, of course, like the past 2 years have been really important, but also like we kind of already had it all, right? Like, we can be thinking when we get that next paycheck, when we get the weekend, when we get the promotion, we'll be happy. And we will, once we are blooming, when we're in our highest, like that's when we'll be the happiest. But we also have to remember that the journey in the other seasons of life are just as good. Fall has its own joys. Winter has its own joys, even though I'm struggling right now in the wintertime. They have their own joys. They have their own highs, if you will. And spring will have its highs and its lows, right? Like, each season has negative and positive. But if we don't have the negative, then we can't really fully enjoy the positive. So if we don't have these weeks of low energy, or the weeks that we have to really push through, the weeks that we are struggling mentally, physically, like we're just exhausted, you're napping like all day. I took a nap on Saturday before our friends had came over. There's gonna be lows. There's gonna be times where you absolutely hate every single moment of it, and you'll want to quit, you'll want to give up, you'll want to take it easy. And those are the times that you have to push forward. And even if you can't do it 100%, it's the fact that you push forward and do something. You don't have to do it perfect. You don't have to have it all together. I mean, my setup is not perfect. I could just easily say, I'm not going to do this or that because it's not going to be perfect, I'm sitting in front of you, my hair, if you're watching on YouTube, I look like I'm ready for bed. I'm not ugly, am. And I could say, my goal was to put a YouTube out, but I'll wait until next week when I, look better. And we sometimes put these stipulations on our goals, and we might not have it all together, and we might only be halfway there. But I sometimes have this really, really poor habit of it's 0 or 100. I can't ever show up as 30%. I can't ever show up as 70%. If I can't do it all out, if I'm not going to be perfect, why even show up? And that is a wrong mindset to have because we are not going to be 100% perfect all the time. And I'd rather show up and be there and try the hardest I can and be okay with that. Because when they say give 100% effort, that doesn't mean it's 100% of your best self. Like, it doesn't mean you have to be 100% of perfect Logan, okay? It just means give 100% of yourself where you are right now in this moment. So if I only have 30% to give, I'm giving that whole 30%. It's 100% of 30%. I might not have it in me to be that shining star, that amazing 100% perfect Logan. I'm on my A game. I am rolling it. You know that feeling. You know that feeling when you are hot shit and you are just like, yes, you are killing it. You are nailing everything. You look good. You're performing good. You're eating good. So you are executing on everything. We can't do that 100%. But giving 100% doesn't mean that you have to be that ultimate, the best. Because when we are, have this perfection, that's when we're actually not growing, because we will never be perfect. Progress over perfection, always, 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 always. So if you only have 20% to give in the tank, give all 20%. Don't give 10%. If you only have 30%, give all your 30 or 50%, 70%, whatever you have, put it all out there, because you never know if it's going to spur to something more, or if it's going to allow yourself to be open to new ideas, new experiences, or things that you would not have been involved in if you hadn't pushed yourself, if you hadn't tried something new, if you hadn't thought, I'm gonna try, because all you have to do is try. It doesn't have to be perfect. So with that, I just want you to be extra gentle with yourself when you're having these tough days. There's no need to beat yourself up. Don't do what I did on my Sunday, where I was just like so mad at myself for trying to rest but not feeling rested, because that's not productive at all. Be gentle with yourself. I'm trying to learn it myself, and meet yourself where you're at, because then you can move forward from that. You might not feel good this week, but next week you might feel better. It's also the month of love. Valentine's Day is literally this week. So do something special for yourself. But sometimes we're so wrapped up in our own struggles and our own mental battles or our physical battles. And one of my favorite things to do, besides going on a walk when I don't want to get physical, when I don't want to go outside, I'd rather stay inside on my phone and feel shitty about myself. But if it's not a walk, my other favorite thing to do is focus on someone else. Give back to someone else. Valentine's Day is the perfect opportunity to, that person who makes your job easier, pick them up a little gift or something. Write them a card. Pick them up some Valentine's Day gummy bears, whatever it is. It's a perfect time to show others the love that you are struggling to show yourself. And when we pour out to others, they then pour into us, right? Like, doing good things, it's like 70% for us and 30%, 70, 80, 90, 100, yeah. 30% for the other person. 70% for ourselves, because when we say to someone, oh my gosh, I love your hat. And they go, oh, thank you so much. Like, you're so sweet. You're so kind. Thank you for complimenting me. We feel good. We feel real damn good. But they feel good too, 30%. We feel good 70% because we did something other people don't do, right? Like, nobody compliments all the time. So when we, focus on someone else and we do that nice thing for someone else, we get the kickback, we get the reward. If we are in Starbucks and we pay for the person behind us, and then we also tip the barista good, or if we call into a local school district and we say, hey, I have $100, can you please spread it to as many children's unpaid lunch balances as possible, we feel good. Any sort of charity event, those Girl Scout cookies, they're out right now. I bought 2 boxes myself, I chatted with the girls, I talked to them about their goals and sales, it's a big part of my job. So I'm like, are you teaching your sister the ropes? And I'm talking to these girls, trying to brighten their evening because it's freaking cold out and they're standing outside of a restaurant trying to sell cookies. And I bought cookies. Did I need cookies? No, I did not. But I'm supporting women in sales. So I felt good that I was able to donate, essentially paying $6 for some cookies. But I'm donating to them, to their cause. I'm getting, cookies, but they feel good. But I feel even better that I donated to the Girl Scouts. Whenever we focus on someone else, our problems and our things that seem like a really, really big deal are actually not that big of a deal. And we allow ourselves to get out of our brain, and into our body, into reality, instead of just overthinking things and wishing we could do this, or, I haven't been on my A game. Show some love to other people. Show some kindness. Be kind to yourself. Buy yourself a Valentine's Day gift if you must. But I promise you'll feel even better when you give the gift to someone else. I love giving gifts, but I'm really bad. I want the person to open their gift immediately. We opened our Christmas date, our Christmas presents on Christmas Eve. We did not open it at Christmas Eve like we usually do. I couldn't wait. I wanted to open it. For Valentine's Day, I already know what I'm getting. I'm getting a vacuum because our vacuum has not been working at all whatsoever. But I went and I bought Garrett a pair of Hoka tennis shoes because I love Hoka, or how do you say it? Hoka, I don't know. Hoka tennis shoes. It's my favorite brand. Right now I have my little running around shoes. These Nikes that I have on my feet, I actually bought for running, but they're not very good for running, so I use them for lounging. My feet roll in, but I have a pair of Hokas that I absolutely love. Garrett mentioned that he would like to do some more running. I would love a running partner. So I went and picked him up these super cute black and gray Hokas. It was so funny. I picked them up, I wrapped them in my car. I went to Dollar Tree. I literally bought scissors and tape and wrapping paper, a little box of chocolates, a card, just wrapped them in my truck because I bought them on Sunday as well. Took them home, they were already wrapped. I was like, you want to open your gift? He's like, sure. But the best thing is he was like, oh my gosh, Logan, I hope they fit. That's what he's like, I hope they fit. And he tries them on and they fit perfect. And he goes, oh my gosh, how did you usually have to try on tennis shoes several times? How did you get it right? And I was like, I'm your wife, I know everything. I didn't know they'd fit perfect, but I tried my best, 12 and a half, it worked. So I got that kickback. I was like, damn right, I got you the perfect tennis shoes. He put them on, he ran around, he felt so good, and I felt good. I felt even better. I was like, hell yeah, I feel so good. I gifted a gift. It's that transfer of, money, one, but energy, transfer of energy. and it felt really good. So I challenge you to do something nice for Valentine's Day for someone else. I guarantee you will get more of the kickback, and it doesn't matter what it is. Like, it can be small than the person you give it to it. So thank you so very much for listening. Happy Valentine's Day, happy Super Bowl, and until next time.